Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are opening up a file that smells distinctly like hairspray, neon fabric, and maybe the inside of a tour bus in 2007.
I can smell it from here.
We are looking at a band with a name that it sounds like it was generated by a sci-fi randomizer, Cobra Starship.
It's a name that makes absolutely zero sense, and yet for a very specific slice of the population, it means everything.
Exactly. And look, if you were on the internet, and I mean the Wild West internet of MySpace between like 2006 and 2011, you know this band.
Oh yeah, they were the kings of neon pop punk.
But even if you weren't part of that scene, you definitely heard them on the radio. They had legitimate top 10 hits. But what I found so fascinating going through these notes is that their origin story isn't your typical friends meet in a garage story. It's
weirdly spiritual.
It is. It involves a vision quest, a desert, and a complete philosophical pivot on what a band is even supposed to be.
Let's get into that, because usually when we talk about emo or pop punk from the mid-2000s, we're talking about very serious, emotional music. Right, wearing your heart on your sleeve, crying in the rain type of stuff.
And Gabe Saporta, the guy behind Cobra Starship, he came from that world. He was in a band called Midtown.
A very respected, driving pop punk band.
Right. Midtown was successful, but they were serious.
Yeah.
And by 2005, Saporta was feeling, stifled. This is where the story just takes a sharp left turn.
He doesn't just quit and start a solo project in a studio. No, he goes to the Arizona desert.
This is my favorite part, a literal vision quest.
Yep.
The notes say he spent time with Native American tribes and famously smoked peyote.
And while that sounds like a total rock and roll cliche, the result wasn't just, I want to make more rock music.
Yeah.
The epiphany was specific. He realized he wanted to abandon the rigid rules of the emo scene. He wanted to mix synth pop with hip hop, music that didn't take itself so seriously.
Which is a huge risk. I mean, in 2005, if you played guitar, you played guitar. You didn't mess around with synthesizers and hip hop beats unless you wanted to be, laughed out of the Warped Tour.
Exactly. He was planning to alienate his entire fan base. So he comes back from the desert, rents a house in the Catskills, and starts writing.
But this is where we see the first glimpse of Saporta's real genius. He wasn't just a musician. He was a master of the early internet.
The Hollaback Boy story.
Yeah.
So Gwen Stefani releases Hollaback Girl everywhere. Saporta records a parody response, Hollaback Boy, and just throws it up on MySpace.
And for our listeners who might have missed the MySpace era, we have to explain how different this was.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't just go viral on TikTok. You had to build a page,
Yeah.
code your own HTML, get people to share your song and their profiles. It was work.
And he crushed it. That parody song gave him instant internet notoriety. It proved he could capture attention.
And that buzz caught the eye of Pete Wentz.
Of course. The bassist of Fall Out Boy, the godfather of the scene.
Essentially the kingmaker of that whole era. Wentz ran to Cadence Records, and he saw what Saporta was doing, signed him immediately.
But even with a record deal, Cobra Starship didn't launch like a normal band. They didn't tour dive bars for 2 years.
No, they launched as a corporate product. It's so brazen, I love it.
They launched with a song for the movie Snakes on a Plane.
You can't make this up.
It sounds cynical, doesn't it? A movie soundtrack tie-in. But it was brilliant. Midtown's management got Saporta the gig in 2006.
And the song was Snakes on a Plane. Bring it.
But Saporta didn't even have a band yet. So who plays on the track? It's a who's who of the Decadence roster.
It's William Beckett from the Academy.
Travis McCoy from Gym Class Heroes, Maja Iverson from The Sounds.
He was like the Avengers of eyeliner.
That is a perfect description, a supergroup of the scene. And because the movie had this massive internet hype...
Oh, everyone's talking about it.
The song just rode that wave. The video was in the closing credits, so before they even played a real show, Cobra Starship was a brand.
Which creates a problem, right? You have a hit song, you have a brand, but you don't have a band. You've just got Gabe Saporta and a backing track.
Precisely. He needed to assemble a crew fast to support the album. While the city sleeps, we rule the streets.
And the way he did it is just... It's hilarious. It wasn't, I called my buddies from high school. It was so situational.
He found the drummer, Nate Navarro, selling merch for another band.
He was the merch guy for Hidden in Plain View. Saporta literally plucked him from the t-shirt stand.
And then you have Rylan Blackington on guitar and Alex Suarez on bass. They didn't even meet him in person first.
No, they saw a picture of him in Entertainment Weekly and just emailed him. Hey, saw you in a magazine. Need a bassist.
The confidence of that email. And it worked. They joined up. But then we have to talk about the most controversial instrument in the band.
The keytar.
The keytar.
You cannot have neon pop punk without a keytar. It's, like, legally required.
It was the symbol of their whole aesthetic, but the role of keytarist was apparently volatile. The original member was Elisa Giordano.
Right. She's in the early photos, part of the lore. But she was gone by December 2006.
And the reasons are just chaos. Saporta claimed she was bringing random strangers onto the tour bus hosting Britney Spears dance parties.
Which honestly sounds kind of fun.
Maybe, but on a tour bus, personal space is sacred. And the final nail in the coffin. Saporta suspected her of stealing the bassist's iPod.
That is a capital offense in 2006. Your iPod was your life. If someone took your click-wheel iPod, that's it. You're out of the band.
Trust is everything in a confined space, so Elisa is out, and in comes Victoria.
Today, everyone is a bedroom producer. But in 2007, bands were still spending hundreds of thousands on studio time. Cobra Starship was doing it on a MacBook.
It gave the album this very specific sound. It's gritty, it's electronic, it's loud. They call them unabashed party jams.
And Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy was the architect behind it.
Totally. He produced it, he sang backup, he's even in the Guilty Pleasure video. He was like the sixth member.
He understood that Saporta wanted to blend genres right. They were mixing disco, pop, and punk.
And they were having fun with it. They covered Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl, but changed it to I Kissed a Boy.
Such a campy, fun move. They were leaning into the absurdity. And this is when the fangs up thing started.
Yes, the two fingers curled like fangs. It's a small detail, but from a marketing perspective, it's genius.
It gave fans a physical way to identify each other. You'd see it in every MySpace profile picture.
Yeah.
Viral marketing before we really used that term.
And speaking of marketing, I didn't realize their album art was used to promote the iPod Nano.
The 4th-gen purple one.
It's a perfect circle. They fire a keytarist over an iPod, and then they become the face of the iPod. It just shows how commercially viable they were.
Okay, so they're riding high, but then 2008 hits. The pressure starts to mount. Label wants another hit. Saporta has a cyst on his vocal cords. Writer's block.
It's the classic panic. So they do what bands do. Retreat to a cabin in the woods. The Poconos in Pennsylvania.
But because they are Cobra Starship, they don't just go off the grid. They broadcast their entire lives on the internet.
This is the part I think is most historically significant. They used a platform called Stick'em.
Oh, man. Stick'em. That is a deep cut.
For those who don't know, it was live streaming before Twitch, before Instagram Live. It was raw, unmoderated, totally chaotic.
And they just set up cameras and streamed for 4 days straight. Why?
To break the wall between the band and the fans, by letting people watch them eat, sleep, and write, they created this intense parasocial bond.
The fans who watched weren't just listeners anymore. They were insiders.
Exactly. And that group of fans became known as the Shelf Kids.
The Shelf Kids. I love that.
It was an unofficial fan club born out of that live stream. It proved Saporta understood that engagement was just as important as the music itself, and that cabin trip worked. It broke the block and led to the album Hot Mess.
And Hot Mess changed everything. This is where they go from famous on the internet to famous at the grocery store.
And the catalyst was one song, Good Girls Go Bad.
I can hear that synth line in my head right now. It's undeniable.
And they brought in Leighton Meester to feature on the track.
Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl.
The absolute peak of pop culture in 2009. If you wanted to signal you were cool and party ready, you referenced Gossip Girl. Having her on the track was a massive coup.
And the song just exploded. Top 10 on Billboard, double platinum.
It peaked at number 7. This is the moment they officially crossed over. No longer just a Warped Tour band, they were pop stars.
And usually, when a scene band gets that big, the original fans revolt. They call them sellouts. Did that happen?
To an extent, sure. But Cobra Starship had always been about selling out, in a way. Their first song was basically a movie commercial.
That's a good point. You can't accuse someone of going pop when they started with a guitar and a dance beat.
They were always a party band, so they ride this wave into 2011. But the music landscape is shifting. The emo thing is dying out. EDM and DJs are taking over.
And Saporta, being the trend watcher he is, feels the stagnation. He goes through a breakup, feels uninspired.
And takes another trip, this time to South America.
Another vision quest.
Less spiritual, more musical. He gets really into Major Lazer, the electronic dancehall project. He comes back wanting to infuse that energy into the band. The result is the album Nightshades.
And they strike gold again.
Yeah.
You make me feel. featuring Sabi.
Another massive hit, peaked at #7 again, triple platinum this time.
That is incredibly hard to do, to have a massive hit in 2009 with one sound, and then pivot to a more straight-ahead club banger in 2011 and hit the top 10 again.
It shows serious adaptability. They were performing on Dancing with the Stars. They appeared on 90210. They were a radio pop staple. But peaks are just that. Peaks.
And the come-down seemed pretty swift. After Nightshades, things get quiet.
They tried. In 2014, they released a single with Icona Pop, Never Been in Love.
Which is a bop, by the way. Very piano-heavy.
It is, but it didn't catch fire. The album that was supposed to follow never happened, and then the lineup started to fracture.
Right. Late 2014, Alex Suarez and Ryland Blackington both left the band. Losing your bassist and guitarist at the same time feels like a death knell.
It really was. And about a year later, November 2015, Saporta made the announcement. Cobra Starship was done.
I read his statement, and it was so honest. Usually bands say creative differences. He said the magic can start to fade.
That is rare self-awareness. He realized that Cobra Starship was a project built on a specific, youthful, chaotic energy. You can't fake that.
If you try to drag it out past its expiration date, it just becomes embarrassing.
So he pulled the plug. And he didn't just quit the band, he quit performing entirely.
He pivoted completely to the business side, right? Started a talent management company.
Yep, Tedgy, the artist group. He wanted to take all that knowledge about viral marketing and branding and use it to help new artists.
Which makes total sense. The guy who navigated MySpace and stick him in the top 40 clearly knows how the industry works. So for a few years, Cobra Starship was just a memory.
Until the 2020s. Because if there is one force stronger than gravity in music, it is nostalgia.
The elder emo revival, it's huge right now. My Chemical Romance, Paramore. It was only a matter of time before the Snakes came back.
It started slowly. 2021, fueled by Ramen, their old label, celebrated its 25th anniversary. They released 2 unreleased B-sides.
Beautiful Life and Party With You. And we have to mention the parody.
Of course. Party With You got a Hanukkah-themed parody version called Party with the Jews.
Classic Gabe Saporta humor. But the real news was the stage return. 2024, the When We Were Young festival.
The epicenter of the nostalgia economy. It's tens of thousands of people in their 30s reliving their teenage years. Cobra Starship reunited for it.
And they didn't just play the hits and leave. They did something that proves they still get the internet. They brought out Tara Yummy.
Such a smart move. Tara Yummy is a massive influencer for Gen Z. She's huge on YouTube and TikTok.
So by bringing her out to sing Good Girls Go Bad, they bridged the gap. They connected the MySpace generation to the TikTok generation.
It's the same playbook. In 2006, the IT platform, MySpace. In 2009, the IT girl, Leighton Meester. In 2024, the IT influencer, Tara Yummy.
Consistency is key. And it's working. They're confirmed for Warped Tour 2025 Riot Fest. They are fully back on the circuit.
So when you look back at it all, a lot of critics at the time dismissed them. They were seen as a joke, a guilty pleasure.
Or just a manufactured pop act wearing punk clothes.
But I think time has been very kind to them. I mean, look at the landscape now. Every artist is expected to be a brand. Every artist is expected to be extremely online, to create viral moments, to collaborate across genres.
Cobra Starship was doing that in 2006. They were blurring the lines between internet celebrity and rock star before we really even knew those lines could be blurred.
Exactly. They treated the internet as an instrument. They played the algorithm just as well as they played the music. Were they the coolest band in the room? Maybe not to the purists.
But they were certainly one of the most visionary in terms of understanding where the culture was going. And they wrote some absolute bangers along the way.
Good Girls Go Bad still fills a dance floor. You can't argue with that.
So here's my question for you listening. Was Cobra Starship a product of their time, a hot mess of the MySpace era? Or were they actually pioneers who wrote the blueprint for the modern pop star?
It's a fine line between a gimmick and a genius strategy. I think they might have been a bit of both.
I think I'm leaning towards genius. If you need me, I'll be trying to find my old purple hoodie. Thanks for listening to this deep dive into Cobra Starship. Keep your fangs up.
Goodbye, everyone.